Yeah, with co-host it worked. Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so today we have Jai Radhika and Santosh Mataji reciting, and I can see that both are here already. So I will share my screen. 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. This is a new laptop, so I'm a bit. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 second. I don't know whether it is going to allow me today or no. I'm just going to have to check. Chapter 2. And... Right, share screen.
Okay.
You're in the room then, or are you okay?
Sorry, I'm having some issues with my share screen. Jyoti Mataji, is it possible for you to share the screen since you're the co-host?
Yes, Madhu, I can share my verses and
Could
we
you please?
start reciting, and while you sort yourself.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, give me a minute. Let me work it out.
No problem.
Okay, are we on 24 to 49, 48?
Is it 24 or 25, Mataji?
25 to 48?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you so much for this.
That's okay. And there you go, we can start.
Okay, that's good. Jai Radhika.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Madhu Kumari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text 25. Avakyoyam chintayoyam vikaryoyamuchyate tashmadevam viditvenam nanushochutimarhisi.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Text 26. Atha chainam nityajatam nityam va manashe mrutam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam sochitumarhasi.
If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
Text 27. Chatasya hi trivo mrityu ध्रुवं जन्मामृतस्य च तस्माद् परिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Text 28. Avaktyaadini bhutani vyakyam dhyani bharata avaktyan nidananyeva tatra ka paridevana.
All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Text 29. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्यनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
Text 30. Dehi nityam jayoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam socitumarhasi.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Text 31. Swadharmamapi chaveksha na vikampetu marhasi dharmadviyuddha cheyontya kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
Text 32. Yaduchaya chopapannam swargadvaram apavratam sukhinaha kshatriyaha partha labante yuddhamidrasham.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. Atha chaitvam dhamyam sangramam na karishyasi tatha swadharma kirtim cha hitva papamavapyasi.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Text 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyavyam sambhavitasya chakirtim ranadi datirichyate.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Text 35. Bhayadranadu parantam mansyante tvam tavahitaha yesham cha tvam bahumato putva yashyasi ladavam.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
Text 36. Avacya vadasham cha bahuna vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samarthyam tato dukhataram nukim.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
Text 37. Hato va prapyasyasi swargam chitva va bhokshashe mahim tasmadutishta kaunteya yuddhaya kruta nishchayaha.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
Text 38. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamavapyasi.
Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin.
Text 39. Esha te bihita shankhe buddhi yoge tvivam shunu uddaya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahashyasi.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Text 40. Neha vikrammanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat.
In the endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana Rahushakha anantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched.
Text 42 and 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadyanta vipaschitaha Vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmanaha swargara janma karma phala pradam kiya vishesha bahulam bhogeshwarya gatim prati.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
Text 44. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam tayapahata chetasam vyavasyatmika buddhi samado na vidiyate.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Text 45. Trigunya Vishaya Veda Nistrigunya Bhavajuna Nirdvando Nityastvastho Nirgoya Kshema Atmavan.
The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
Text 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvata sampalutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanyasa vijanataha.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Text 47. Karmanyevadike ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturvar ma te sangastva karmani.
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Text 48. Yogasthaha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhaya siddhayo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for giving us a chance. Please forgive us for all the offenses we caused or mistakes.
Thank you so much, Jai Radhika and Santosh Mataji. That was beautiful. Jai Radhika, thank you so much for your Sanskrit recitation. Very beautiful. And Santosh Mataji, excellent English recitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now, if we have the blessings of the Lord, I should try and see if I can do my share screen, which I'm not very sure. Right, for some reason, it has allowed me, it does not want me to share screen today, I think. Just give me 2 minutes. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. What can I do?
Mataji, I have stopped screen sharing.
Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe now it'll allow me, I don't know. Let's see.
please try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I've actually logged in with my other computer also. So let's see if it works from there. But yeah, I'll give it another 2 minutes. If it doesn't work, then that's it. Then I'll have to just share screen. Let me see if I can share from here. Can you all see the screen by any chance? Because I have
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
We
Yes,
can.
Mataji.
brilliant, brilliant. Just give me 1 minute now. All right, all good? Can you all hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji,
we
can hear you. Krishna, we can't hear you.
Can you all hear me or you can't hear me?
Now we can.
No?
We can hear you.
Nobody can hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Hello?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Could you all hear me or you couldn't hear me at all? Or you can? I can't hear anybody.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, Mataji.
Okay, now everything is sorted. I can hear you. Thank
Yes,
you very
we
much.
can hear you too.
Brilliant. Sorry, just having a bit of a nightmare with my new laptop. You can see the screen, you can hear me, so we're good to go now. So yes, we are going to do the chapter 2, continue with the chapter 2, of course. And we will do verse 31 today. So if we're all ready, let's just straight away move to verse 31. Okay, so today we're doing very important verse again. All the verses in the chapter are important, but yeah. So let's just recite verse 31 and then we will see what we can take from here. Swadharma api chavekshya navikampitum dharmadhya yuddha shreya nyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Translation in purple by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Can everybody please mute yourselves because there is some background sound. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. This is quite a long purport. So would anybody like to read? We could have 3 people reading because we have 3 pages of it. Anybody?
I'll read if you like, Mataji, if it's okay. But
yes,
it's very small. Are you able to make it larger?
I don't think so, to be honest.
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you.
Okay. Out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Shat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya, Trayete, to give protection. The Kshatriya are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with him, with the tiger, with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya, kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Non-violence is politics. In politics may be a diplomacy, but is never a factor or principle. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Koli Mataji. Is there anybody else?
Oh, it got bigger.
Anybody else who would like to read? Somebody say something? Anybody wants to read, or I'll just read if there's nobody?
I can read the second one.
Yes, please, Chaitanya.
I'll read the Sanskrit bit because I won't be able to pronounce that.
That's fine, that's fine.
In the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after that death, as the Brahmanas also attain the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another, and the Kshatriyas killed on the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice.
Thank you so much. Next paragraph, anybody?
Hare Krishna, I can read, Mataji.
Please, thank you.
There are two kinds of Swadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's Swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas, respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnasrama Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnasrama Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life.
Thank you, Jayshree. Thank you so much. So before we continue discussing, we'll just say our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Okay, so as we know, chapter 2 is contents of the Gita summarized. So it is giving us the entire summary of the Bhagavad Gita. And we are at a stage where obviously Arjuna is very distressed. He does not want to fight. He gives up his weapons and he's just sitting with his head in his hands. And now Krishna is instructing him. So in the previous verses, Krishna has been trying to convince Arjuna that he must fight. You see, in the first chapter, we've seen Arjuna is giving various kind of reasons why he should not fight, you know, based on Dharma Shastra and based on other things that he's thinking why he should not fight. And so now Krishna has been trying to convince him based on Sankhya Yoga, giving him the knowledge of the soul, so the Jnana Yoga. So he's been in the past few verses describing, that the soul and other things. So till now, Krishna has given him 4 reasons why he should fight in the different verses. So in verse 20 of this chapter, Krishna describes how the soul is eternal. So if you fight, you are not really harming the soul at all. It's just the body, and soul moves on. Then so as we can see here, we've seen the picture, the soul, within this body itself, as the body is evolving from birth to, youth and old age, the soul remains permanent and eternal. And then in verse 26, I can still hear some sounds, and I don't know who it is from, but if all of you could please mute yourselves, it would be great. Okay, and then we see that in verse 26, Krishna says, and if you think that this body is just made of all chemicals, then why lament for the loss of chemicals, right? Then verse 27, it's explained that one who is born will definitely die. That is for sure. And he explains that everything was unmanifest in the beginning, it manifests for some time and is unmanifest again. So why lament? So Krishna is giving various reasons to Arjuna that there is absolutely no need to lament for this body, by explaining that, you're not the body, you're the soul, so the soul is eternal. Or by explaining, okay, if it is just the body, it's just, some chemicals, so why worry about chemicals, right? And then he goes on to explain that, one in this life, anybody who takes birth will obviously die. So there are various ways that he's explaining to Arjuna why he must fight. And then from these particular verses, this is the set of verses from 31 to 38, Krishna then actually starts speaking on a slightly lower level of the yoga ladder, and starts talking to Arjuna about why he must fight and what benefits he will get if he fights. Benefits as in the material benefits. Those will be discussed in the later verses, but today's verse, it's just the beginning of that. So we also see that Arjuna feared that he would never be able to enjoy the kingdom. Because he is thinking that if I fight and if I die, then, that's it, I'm gone. So I won't be able to enjoy. And if I live, I'm so sorry. If I live, then what is the point of that life where, everybody, all my friends and relatives will be dead, and I will be full of guilt and will be lamenting for the loss of my friends and relatives. So in either ways, he's thinking that, what's the point? Again, whenever we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, we should try and take lessons for ourselves from here. And if we notice, we also tend to have the same consciousness and mentality as Arjuna. We also like to do things that give us pleasure, but we try and, avoid things which will give us some kind of distress. So Krishna now is trying to explain to Arjuna why it is important, no matter what, it is important to perform your duty. So in the purport, Prabhupada says this, that out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. So we've studied this quite a few times on this forum about the 4 orders, the Varnasrama system, where we have the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, right? And this Varnashram system has been created by Krishna himself. Like Prabhupada says in the purport also, that we will study about this further in the 4th chapter as well. But here, what Prabhupada is trying to explain is that we've got these 4 varnas,
The Brahmana is meant to acquire knowledge and spread the knowledge. The Kshatriya is meant to give us, protect us from harm. And Prabhupada says that Shat means hurt, and Trayate means somebody who can give you the protection. So it is the responsibility of the Kshatriya to protect, to give good administration, and to see that the kingdom is in order. There is the law and order situation is maintained. That is the duty of the Kshatriya. And then we have the Vaishyas and the Shudras. We won't go into the discussion of the role of each one, but the point is that everybody has got their specific role to perform, responsibilities to fulfill. Now, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 verse 9, there is this verse, and I'll just read the translation, where it says that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So again and again, Krishna is talking about performing your prescribed duties. Now, the point is that all activities will have faults and mistakes. None of us here can say that we can do something which will be perfect with no faults and mistakes. Just like the fire, and the fire is covered by smoke. You can't really see the fire, in that sense it's covered by smoke, so you feel that's a fault of the fire. Does that mean that we stop using fire? We need the fire to cook. We need the fire to keep ourselves warm. Sometimes the fire may even cause us burns. Does that mean that we stop using the fire? It doesn't mean that. So same way, each one of us is born with different propensities. We are all born with different kinds of nature, and one has to perform the duties as per the nature given. I understand yesterday in the class, Mukundhari Prabhu also was talking about this, where he said, he referred to the verse from the 18th chapter and said that it is better to perform your own duties, even if they are not perfect, rather than trying to do another's duty. Like, for example, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada in his purports explains about this. He says that if it is very, very hot in India, the summers can be really killing, especially in the north of India, like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. But does that mean that the lady of the house, the wife, will stop cooking and say it is just so hot, so I'm not going to cook anymore? Or for that example, a businessman, he is doing his work, whatever else, but he thinks the market is really so down, so let me just stop everything and just sit. That doesn't work. Also, if they swap roles, the wife will say, cooking is such a problem, it's such a difficult task, let me go and do the business. Now, we are not saying that she cannot do the business. The point is, even over there, she is going to face difficulties. Like if the businessman says, I'll do the cooking, but even when he's cooking, he'll face difficulties. So the point that is being made is that difficulties are going to be there in every situation. Problems are going to be in every situation. That cannot change. That will not, that's part of this material nature. But that does not mean that you stop performing your prescribed duties, right? And like we said, Prabhupada is saying this in the purport. He says, on the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashram Dharma. As long as you are in this material body, and you have the propensities of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, you are in the Varnashram Dharma and you have to perform your duties. Of course, Prabhupada said in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. That's what Prabhupada said. But the point being made is that one has to continue to perform your duties. You cannot just run away from your duties. And for this, we will refer to this very beautiful story from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once Mahaprabhu was traveling in the south of India, and he was in Kurma Kshetra. In Kurma Kshetra, he met this Kurma Brahmin who became very attached to Mahaprabhu. And he would associate with Mahaprabhu while he was conducting Sankirtan. He invited Mahaprabhu to his house and, washed his feet, gave him a prasad. And after that, he said, now me and my family members will take the remnants of your prasad and purify ourselves. So he was very, very attached to Mahaprabhu. And then eventually, when Mahaprabhu was leaving, the Kurma Brahmin fell at his feet and he said, this household life has got so many hindrances. I just want to come with you. I want to leave everything and I want to be with you. I have no demands, he said. I will stay exactly the way you are living, a very simple life, no demands at all. And at that time, Mahaprabhu said to him, he said, don't speak like that. And these are the verses actually from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said, don't speak like that. It is better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. And then he goes on to say that you just instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Krishna. And in that way, you become the spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. So the point that is being made is that don't try to, don't turn your back towards your responsibilities. That is not what either Krishna is teaching in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna or what Mahaprabhu is teaching through his examples. Every instance and every example, and we can see every encounter with devotees, we are being encouraged by the Supreme Lord to continue following performing our prescribed duties. In fact, in the prayers of Lord Brahma in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, Lord Brahma says that if one can do just 3 activities, you can easily achieve, you can easily get Lord. Now, Lord is Ajit. Ajit means that you cannot win him. But if you perform these 3 activities, then you can very, very easily get the Lord. And what are those 3 activities? The first activity is give away mental speculation. The first thing. The second activity is always try and listen to Krishna Katha in the association of devotees. And the third very important activity is stay in your own position and with your heart, mind, your activities, just serve the Lord. There is no need to do any kind of artificial renunciation. Now, these are the prayers of Lord Brahma to Krishna. This is in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 3. Very, very beautiful verse and something that one can meditate on, because all of us have this dilemma in our minds that I have my Swadharma to perform, I have my responsibilities to perform. And here, Krishna and Mahaprabhu, both of us are guiding us that you're not being asked to give up any of your responsibilities. Just add something, just bring Krishna into the picture, right? So Krishna is advising Arjuna that, there's no need to do this artificial renunciation. Remember, Arjuna was saying it's better for me to just go to the Himalayas and take sannyas. So Arjuna is kind of telling, Krishna is telling Arjuna that, no need to do this artificial renunciation. It's sometimes called actually as Markat Vairagya. Does anybody know the meaning of Markat? Markat Vairagya? I'm sure most of you would know it.
Is it same as
Crocodile?
Sorry?
Crocodile, Markat.
No.
Sorry,
Yeah, yes.
This is the Smashan Vairagya, Mataji.
No, that's different. So we've studied Smashan Vairagya in one of our sessions. So we've studied Smashan Vairagya. We kind of know what Yukta Vairagya means. And this is called the Markat Vairagya. Markat means a monkey.
Oh,
You see?
monkey. Okay.
Monkey. Markat is a monkey. Now, to a superficial eye, you feel that monkeys are so renounced. Why? Because they live naked on the trees. They don't have any fixed home. They are just, so you feel they are renounced. This is the analogy that is given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? So, but when you understand it and you see it through the eyes of our acharyas and scriptures, they say that the monkeys indulge in sense gratification throughout the day. So one must not think of falsely renouncing anything till one is in a position to do it. Like when you have gradually, and Krishna, we are in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and when Krishna will take us gradually on this yoga ladder, yes, eventually, if you are ready, you are in that stage, then it's different. But if you're not in that stage, and that is why it is advised that don't take false sannyas, because you will not be able to live up to the standards and you will fall down again, right? So here, Krishna is also trying to explain to Arjuna that it is better that you perform your prescribed duties, because by performing your duties, the doors to the heavens will open for you. Because for a Kshatriya, it is, if he is on a battlefield, if he slays the opposing kings, there is no sin incurred. And if he dies on a battlefield, then he goes to the heavenly kingdoms. So in either ways, there is no problem. So Krishna is saying you perform your duty of fighting. Then in the purport, Prabhupada goes on to explain that, so there are two kinds of Swadharma. Now, one Swadharma is of the material body and one is of the soul. And it's very important to understand that unless we come to the stage where we stop identifying ourselves completely with the material body, we have to perform both these Swadharmas. So both of these dharmas have to be performed simultaneously, right? But when one is liberated, one's Swadharma or specific duty becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. And then what is that Swadharma then? And this is, I've taken this exactly word to word from one of Prabhupada's lectures. And he says, so, and real Swadharma is spiritual Swadharma. In the spiritual, so when you go deep into the matter, when you understand that I am not this body, I am soul, then that is real Swadharma. And what is the occupation of that Swadharma? It is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Jivera Swarupa Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. So once you have reached that stage, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. So once you have reached that stage where you completely are advanced and have realized that I am not this body and I am this soul, then it is okay for you to give up the dharmas of the material body. But till you've not reached that stage, then there is no point in doing false renunciation or running away from your responsibilities because of the fear of the distress that it may cause you. Because any activity, like we discussed, will cause you some happiness and some distress, because that's how the material world is. The material world is full of duality. So it is going to happen. But that does not mean you don't perform your duty. And these, like we discussed, so some of the main points that we discussed is that the Chaturvarnyam, the 4 Varnas of society, have been created by Lord Krishna himself, and thus they cannot be wrong. They are perfect. They are perfect. And these Varnas are not by birth, they are by the propensities that a person may have. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Narad Muni says that if you see a person that he has the nature and propensities of a Brahmana, He may be born in the lowest class of the family, but he will be recognized as a Brahmana because he has the symptoms of a Brahmana. Okay. So, so we saw that, these Varnas are created by Lord Krishna himself. Arjuna is in the Kshatriya Varna, and because he is a Kshatriya, it is his duty to fight. Besides that, this is not a war where he's fighting for his sense gratification, but this is a dharma war. It is on the orders of Lord Krishna. And that is why he should not worry about any sins, because there will be no sins incurred. For a Kshatriya, anyways, there is no sin incurred if he is fighting a war in order to protect the citizens. So we saw that. And then we saw the two different kinds of Swadharma. As long as you are on the material platform, then you have to perform the dharma of the particular body that you're in. Simultaneously performing the dharma of the soul, which is obviously reigniting your relation with the Lord. And once you reach the stage where you no longer identify with the body at all, then you don't have to worry about your material responsibilities. So I think that's about what Prabhupada is talking in this verse. So if there are any questions or corrections, realizations, please feel free to share. No comments. Everybody is happy with the verse we've discussed. All right, there doesn't seem to be any comments today. That's good. So in that case, then maybe we can just end the session here. And oh, sorry. Yes, Chetna Mataji.
Sorry, I have a question. It's not directly related to, well, it kind of is at the beginning where it says, about not killing animals and all of that. And this is like a personal dilemma between being vegan and vegetarian, because ultimately a vegetarian will have milk, various byproducts, and those cows do get killed. They end up going to the slaughterhouse anyway. So how does one work kind of around that?
So if you read any of Prabhupada's purports, he always very, very strongly advised all of us to have cow's milk, because he said you can actually literally just survive on cow's milk. It has got that kind of potency. Obviously, we're talking of Vedic times and we're talking of those times. Now, we know in the modern times, the way the animals are treated is not great. And there are a lot of people going vegan and, they don't want to have milk and whatever else. This actually comes down to a personal choice. ISKCON does not obviously advocate that everybody goes vegan. There are a lot of people, what they have done is they have tried to go ahimsa vegan, in the sense that they will only have ahimsa milk, if that is possible to procure, because there are some devotees who look after cows in that way, where they are not sent to the slaughterhouses and whatever else, and they have the ahimsa milk. So yes, this is a dilemma where you know that milk is very good for you, but at the same time you also know that the way the cows are treated, especially in the Western countries, is not great and not ideal. So like I said, this is a very personal decision that one has to make based on lots of facts and figures that one can find out. But yeah, if people can take ahimsa milk, that's of course ideal then.
Yeah. All right. Okay. It's just been a personal dilemma, and it's just so difficult to say that. Yes, it's important to drink milk, but at the same time, somewhere along the line, it is like a sin, because it's it is actually directly causing the killing of an animal.
Yes. See, that is why I mean. If you think about what Prabhupada advocated was farm communities, Prabhupada, for us, like, and in the Vedic times, people did not live so much in the cities. They lived in the villages where they grew their own food products. They had cows, they had, they could milk the cows, have milk. Obviously, right now we are in this situation and we are in this dilemma what to do. And thus you have to do what is then eventually best. Yes, you may be a part of that chain where you're causing harm to the cows, but then one has to then look at the higher purpose. What is the higher purpose? Because if something is, and I'm not saying that, if something is out of hand, we just do it. No, we don't do that. But if you have to have milk and you have no other choice, you can't get ahimsa milk, then uh, you just have to do it. But like I said, it's a very, very personal choice that one has to make.
Yeah, thank you.
And also, just one more point that I wanted to add, not really directly related to Chetna Mataji, your question, but about the killing of the animals and all of that stuff. So we read that Kshatriyas used to go to the jungles and fight hand to hand with the tigers and lions and that. So one may again think that, oh, but they are killing animals. See, they are not killing animals for their sense pleasure. They are doing it because it is a duty that they have to perform. For example, I think in one of the sessions we discussed that even when we light a fire to cook, there are so many organisms in the air, and they are dying because we are. So does that mean that we stop cooking and stop eating? So it doesn't mean that. So obviously always then you have to look at the higher purpose. And these Kshatriyas who went to the jungles and forests to fight with the lions and tigers and whatever, they didn't do what today's people do, the modern day people. What they do is they go in these jeeps and things like that with a gun, and they are hiding and they shoot the animal. These Kshatriyas went and fought hand to hand, max with using probably a knife or something to kill the animal. So it wasn't like, they did it for pleasure and they were just hiding and they just shot down number of lions and tigers to just show as trophy that this is what we've done. So that is the difference as well. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, I was just remembering there was one devotee shared when we offer the milk to the Krishna, so even that cow is benefited because when we offer, cow is benefited, and also it's not the reason, oh, that's okay, cow is killed, we are fine, benefited. No, that's not the mood, but because we don't have a choice, and we should concentrate on farm communities. That is, I think the world has come to that level that we have to do that. Yeah. So I thought I would just add these two.
Oh, thank you. That's because, see, when we first start preaching and we first come to Krishna conscious, then people also ask about the plants that we eat, because plants are also living entities. So then they ask a question, well, you go on advocating ahimsa and non-violence, but plants are also living entities. So then, it is the thing where, I can't remember the Hindi, the Sanskrit way it is said, but it said that one living entity is food for the another. And that's the fact. So what you have to do is consciously commit the least sinful activities. We are committing sins. That's, we cannot help that. We are in this material world, we are going to commit sins. Like I said, as soon as you light fire, there are organisms, you're killing them. So we are then trying to commit the least possible sin. And that is why we offer everything to the Lord. Because as soon as we offer everything to the Lord, then those sinful reactions are then taken away.
Yeah, actually, if someone concentrates on being a vegan, what happens then? We go away from building up farm communities. Because they think, oh, yeah, we are just trying to find an easy cut, but then, so total whole, because whatever teachings of Srila Prabhupada, which he couldn't, because he didn't, he was not there in this planet for a very long time. He did most of it. He left these for us. So if we don't do that, so that means, oh, it's easy for us to be a vegan. And so that is totally, that's not what Krishna wants either. We can't offer almond milk to Krishna.
Yeah, no, it's important. It's important
Yeah.
about this farm community. And in fact, we see that we are having so many farm communities everywhere. We've got in Bombay Govardhan Eco Village. We've got in Hungary. I believe we've got, we had already, even when Prabhupada was there, we had in the US, and there are more coming up. So yes, obviously, you know, that's very important. And like I said, as far as possible, we can do what we can. But if it's out of our hands, then, you know, we should, Prabhupada says in all of his purpose, in all, everywhere he says how important and nourishing cow's milk is. He says
Yeah.
that. All right, I have a question on chat. The first question I had was, it is mentioned in the purpose that killing on the battlefield on basis of religious principles is not an act of violence. In present day, how can we relate to it? Thank you. Thank you, Surabhi Mataji, for that question. In present day, the problem is that none of these wars that are being fought are based on religious principles. And I know, who are we to judge? Somebody might say, well, you know, you're saying that what Arjuna did was on religious principles, so who are you to judge? Agreed. I'm nobody, you're nobody. But we've got our scriptures. You know, we don't understand things just like that. We look at our scriptures. And if we see around the world, what we are seeing is these wars are being fought for personal gains, in order to gain power, in order to get proprietorship. The whole problem is this is not being done to give, to establish dharma. Do we see any war that is benefiting the poor citizens of any particular country? At the end of the day, it's politicians. This, you know, this war is just, it's politicians, and that is wrong then. And that is why the war that was fought at that time under religious principles, like, you know, Krishna, I know it's very difficult to get your head around, but Krishna is not here to guide us. Krishna may not be here, but via disciplic succession, he has given us all these scriptures. He has given us our gurus and acharyas, where we can always ask questions that, is this the right thing for me to do? You know, what I'm doing, is that under religious principles? Your own heart, your own conscience will first give you the answer. You know.
Thank you.
So yeah, you know, protecting your land and all of that is a false sense of proprietorship. And that's what Prabhupada used to say. You have the United Nation and you have all of that. But the point is, everything is Krishna's. So what exactly are you fighting for? Right?
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Okay. And your second question was, is the second type of Swadharma, spiritual one. Do we only attain that only when we die? No, you don't actually. You can attain that even in this lifetime. According to Prabhupada, it is as easy as something it can be attained within a second. But at the same time, one has to again self-evaluate. If you ask me, then I am not in a position where I can say that I have reached that stage where I don't identify myself with the material body, or I don't identify all my relations that are related to this material body. Am I in this stage where tomorrow morning I can walk out and say, I don't know who my husband are, who my children are, my house, nothing is mine. I'm not at that stage. But there are people who do reach that stage, who do look at themselves as the soul and look at each and every living entity as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And once they have reached that stage, then they don't need to worry about any of their material responsibilities, because that is automatically taken care of because you've reached that spiritual platform.
Hare Krishna. So it's only attained by the saints or the elevated souls, maybe, yeah?
You can be an elevated soul, Surabhi Mataji.
No, I don't know. Nothing is like
Prabhupada has
Hare
given
Krishna.
all of us this wonderful opportunity. He has given all of us this wonderful opportunity. We just have to, that's it. We just have to try and surrender. Surrender to Prabhupada's words
Thank
and
you so much.
purpose.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Mataji, I have one question.
Yes.
I have the similar dilemma like the other lady.
Yeah.
Not about vegan, but I'm surrounded by people who eat meat, and I find it very uncomfortable. But I obviously they're not on the same wavelength as me, so I can't force them not to eat. So it is very hard for me because although, you know, they appreciate I don't eat meat and that, but at the same time, they don't understand it either.
Okay. Now I will give you the answer in a couple of ways and different angles. And this is very, very important for all of us to understand, because this is a very deep understanding. Please bear in mind that these people who are eating meat are also part and parcel of Krishna. Right? So if you offend them in some way, you are offending the Supreme Lord. Remember, the Supreme Lord is in their body and in their heart also. What we have to do is we have to accept the fact that every soul is on a journey, right? Every soul is on different ladders, is on different, path. I cannot, just because I am on probably a higher rung of the ladder, treat the people who are on lower without any kind of emotion, because at the end of the day, they are part and parcel of Krishna. Now, if Krishna loves each and every one of us equally, then who am I to judge? All I can do is, I can just pray, knowing that, they are on this journey, not this lifetime, maybe another lifetime, maybe another lifetime. Like how I probably have just about, touched the edge of the water of this vast ocean. Someday they will as well.
So, well, you know, there are people who are very spiritual. They pray, they go to the bhajans, listen to kirtan, everything, but they still eat meat. So how do they stand in the journey? Is that the similar thing?
Yeah, so that is because they are still in the Karma Kanda section. The Karma Kanda is talking about, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So it talks about Artha, it talks about sense gratification and Kama and everything. So they are in that stage. They are performing ritualistic activities by praying to the demigods, by, doing some kind of pujas in the house. And all of that is being done so that they can get something out of it. See, they are not at that stage where they're doing it just because they love Krishna or they love the demigods. They are doing it because they want something out of it. It is a give and take relation, you see.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong with that, because in our Vedas, the Vedas are teaching you about the Karma Kanda section, where they are teaching you that you perform these yagyas so the demigods will be happy and they will give you what you need. So there's nothing wrong with it. So they are at least they are better than people who are in the complete animalistic way of living, where they don't even do these kinds of things, where they are just focusing on their sense gratification. So you see, already you can see that there are different stages of people on different rungs of the ladder.
Yeah.
You yourself, Mataji, are identifying it. So you can see that people are progressing. So let them progress at their pace. Yes, what you can do is pray for them. Wherever possible, if they accept, then give them prasad, because prasad is the strongest thing one can do, and prayer, obviously. So, but don't force them.
No, thank you, Mataji. Yes, it is a difficult one. Yeah. You can't force them because they're not going to take it on. They're not ready. Like you said, if they're not ready, they're not going to take it on.
No, and love cannot be forced, Mataji. Love can never be forced. Because if that was the case, then Krishna would have forced all of us and taken us back.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes,
from no questions to many questions. Mataji, on that point about meat eaters, and the message is a bit of contradictory area where we have the message, you offer everything to Krishna, and as Mataji was saying about some devotees, they claim to be spiritual but they eat meat, and they decide to offer meat to Krishna, or whatever they're eating against the four regulative principles. How does that stand? What is the position for them or us to watch on?
Yeah, no. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhakta Prayachati. So he is giving us the guidance. I'll tell you what it is. if I want to please you, Joli Mataji,
Yeah.
right? I will want to give you what you like.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to find out what you like. I'm going to
Mm.
ask somebody, I'm going to ask your friend, what did Joli Mataji like? And I'll give that to you. If I want to please the Lord, I will find out what the Lord likes. Now, the Lord is telling me what he likes in the Bhagavad Gita. If I don't have the Bhagavad Gita, he's telling me through his devotees. So I cannot give something that I like because I like it. I'm just going to say, I like it, so the Lord has to like it. It doesn't work like that. When I'm cooking for my children, let's say, I'm going to cook what my child likes. I'm not going to say to them, you have to eat this because I like it. I don't care about your likes.
Mm.
Right? So meat eaters obviously then cannot offer this to the Lord because the Lord is clearly saying in Bhagavad Gita what can be offered to him. He is
Yes.
giving you a description of what can be offered. So just because you think I will offer this and then I'm fine because then I'm not going to get any sin, it doesn't work because it's there in the Shastras what can be offered.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah.
And somebody had another question. If a military person kills in a war not based on religious principles, does he incur sin? Now, the problem here is that a military person, like we have discussed, like how Arjuna is being asked to perform his duties, of course, it is a religious war. We are in this material world. Nothing is happening based on dharma or religious things. But if this person has got, he has a job to do. So whether we see it in the material realm, but still he has a responsibility to perform, and he's doing it under the instructions of his superior. And that is why Prabhupada gives this analogy in one of the chapters. I think it is in the second chapter. I'm not 100% sure, where he says that a military person, when he is fighting a war and he's killed 100 soldiers, he'll be given a bravery medal. But if he is home during peace times, he gets angry and he kills his neighbor, he will straight away be sent to the prison. You see? So agreed that the wars being fought are not on complete dharma, but there is still some kind of ethical things which are being followed in the sense that this is my country, I'm trying to protect the land or the people of my country from whoever is coming to fight us. So in that way, he will not have that kind of sin. But according to me, and this is again my personal opinion, obviously there's got to be some sin, but again, remember that we all are in different positions because of our past karmas. And so whatever position we may be in, the modes of the material nature are acting on us. So if this person is in the military, it must be because of his past karma. So remember that the karmas, modes of material nature, are always acting on us. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, no comment. Okay, moving on. Hema Mataji had one comment, which is very, very important. This is for Mataji, who was asking about the meat eaters. She said that you can slowly introduce them to the Mahamantra. And once they start chanting, then slowly they will develop distaste for meat. We all know the potencies of the Mahamantra. And for this age, Prabhupada started his entire mission on just two things. One was the chanting of the Mahamantra, and the second was distributing prasad. So we can take inspiration, learn from that, and yes, encourage everybody to chant and try and give prasad as much as possible. Thank you, Hema Mataji, for that.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. So if there are no further questions, we can stop here. Thank you so much for participating. Vanchakalpatrubhascha kripa sindhu
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful class.
Wonderful class, Mataji.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji.
Beautiful class.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.